Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. In this particular episode, I would like to talk about the simple subject of whether you should have an attorney with you at your immigration interview. A lot of people think that it's not necessary. They believe that they've gotten to that point, and for some reason, when they go to the immigration interview, they'll just answer a few questions. Everything will be hunky dory, and they will get their green card, or they'll become a U.S. citizen. And the reality is that nothing could be further from the truth. Now, let's say you have a zero issue case. Let's say there's no issue of good moral character, there's no criminal history, there's no issues of entry into the US, there's no issue if it's a marriage petition, a bona fide marriage, there's no issues whatsoever. Then perhaps it won't be necessary to have an attorney. However, I can't tell you how many cases I've had where the clients will retain my firm to prepare the petition, to go forward and submit everything, and then when it comes time for the interview, they just don't want to retain the attorney to go to the interview with them, and they're given the advisal letter before they go that it would be in their best interest, that something may or may not come up, that it needs to be directed properly, and that if it gets denied, it's going to be a whole lot more expensive with the appeal and possibly a motion to reopen. It just depends. So the bottom line is, when you get to the interview, if there's any issues at all in your past that could result in getting a denial, you should have an attorney there. Okay, because when we're there, there's some very important things that we do. First of all, by the mere fact of being there, it inhibits the officer from being abrasive, from asking questions out of left field, from going on to issues that are non-issues. Now, let me just give an example. Let's say that you won a VAWA petition. Let's say we did a VAWA petition for you and you won, battered spouse petition. And let's say that you go to the interview for adjustment, and the interviewer, the the adjustment officer, starts questioning you on the nature of the abuse. Okay, and starts questioning whether you were really abused, type thing. Well, that officer has no legal right to do that unless there is an absolute issue of fraud that was brought to the officer's attention. So if an attorney was there, of course, we would stop that cold. Okay, we would essentially say that under this and that regulation, in these cases, you, the officer, are not supposed to inquire into the merits of the abuse unless there's any fraud, and there's been zero indication of any fraud. And if the officer can inform us on what he or she believes was fraud, and then they'll just stop and they'll move on. However, if the attorney's not there, I guarantee you that the person who won the VAWA is going to start saying, well, my husband did this and that, and they might get some facts a little different than was submitted, who knows. And so that's one thing. And I can think of, 100 right off the top issues that officers have gone and when attorneys haven't been in there, that are, number one, either non-issues, that they are misinterpreting the law or the facts, and that they should not be permitted to go. Now, if an attorney's there also, if the officer will not listen and will proceed based on an incorrect assumption of law and facts, we can stop the interview and we can request that the interviewer permit us to speak to his or her supervisor. upon which we can then set the record straight. Because they know what's going to happen. If they keep persisting like this, it's going to end up in court in front of a federal judge, and the federal judge is going to just vacate and turn around what they did, and it's going to be back in their lap again. So, when you get these aggressive officers, or these officers who are unfamiliar with the law, or these officers who didn't properly review the facts, you need protection. Okay, it's quite a bit more than an attorney just sitting there, twiddling his or her thumbs. And I've been to some where I've hardly had to say anything, because again, the fact the attorney's there keeps many times the officers on the straight road doing what they need to do and asking proper, correct questions. And so that's basically how it works. Now, one thing that an attorney cannot do, which I have a lot of clients, they'll say, "Can you tell me what to say if the officer asks this or that?" Well, an attorney cannot prep you in that manner. That's not legal. But of course, you have to tell the truth. You have to be honest, and you have to be prepared. Okay. So if you have an interview coming up, adjustment, naturalization, any number of types of interviews, give my office a call. We'll see what we can do to help. If you like the video, click like, subscribe, and more on the coming videos. Thank you.